Hello friends, welcome to Python video tutorials. Previous video we started with the Python basics and introduction to variables and data types. So in this video, we are going to start with programming language. So as of now we understand the variables and data types. If you want to write a programs in Python like more than one line, we need to understand the programming language and primarily conditions. So conditions are useful for validation purpose because we are data engineers. We are data engineers, and if you want to do some data validations, if this is like this, then process this. If this is like send email notification. If this condition is true, do something like this. If you want to implement any programming language with a condition specific, so Python also supports for that. That is called conditional executions. So this is one of the statement called if statement. So if statement will help you to go for validation purpose. If a particular condition you can give, based on the condition, it will return true or false. Based on true, you can execute one statement. Based on false, you can execute another statement. So that is called if statement. So if statement will help you more on data validation part, because when it comes to data engineering, validations are very important. So that validations you can achieve using conditional executions. That is called if statements. Let's start with the basic if statement and then we'll go with advanced. So before moving to if statements, we need to understand indentation. So Python is a programming language and case sensitive programming language. And when it comes to multiple lines of code, so multiple lines of code, how it will divide and how it will consider scope of that code. Scope means how it will consider, okay, this two lines are parent, these two lines are child, inside that is called scope. So in other languages, what we will do, we will go with the curly brackets, but in Python, we will go with two white spaces. That is called indentation. Let's consider this. So if I want to write multiple lines of code, okay, so single line, it's okay. But when it comes to multiple lines, it's need to understand the scope. Okay, scope means that internal relationship on each line of code. Let's write if condition. If, then you can write condition, then colon. So when you enter this after colon, it is taking by default two white spaces. It is taking by default two white spaces. That is called indentation. So indentation primary goal is define the scope. So whatever you are going to write, that is applicable inside if condition. Okay. So I'll create two variables, a equal to 55, b equal to 66. Okay. Then I want to validate if a is greater than b, display some message like that. If a is greater than b, then colon. When I enter colon, you see it is taking by default two white spaces. So if statement, most of the statements in Python ends with colon. Remember that. Maybe function, maybe loop, or maybe if statement, whatever it is. There, when you are defining a scope, so when a new line, so it ends with a colon, then your statement. So when it comes to statements, you see this. Two white spaces. So directly, if you are writing, when you enter default, it will consider indentation. No, if I am not giving indent spaces, what will happen? Just use a print some message. A is greater than b. So just execute this. It is saying that error message. Why? Because expected an indented block, because this should be inside this if statement. Actually, if you are removing white spaces, it will be outside if statement, outside if statement. If I give two white spaces, then it will verify. Successfully executed, but a is not greater than b. That's why this statement is not executed. This statement will be executed only this condition is returning a true. Only the first condition is true, then this will be executed. If condition is false, nothing. Then if you want to go with again condition is false, if you want to execute something else, that is called else. So we can write else statement. Then if condition is true, one will be executed. If condition is false, another will be executed. That is called else statement. Okay, then so after this enter, but if you enter, you can see again it is starting from print. No, because inside if true statement, if you want to write, you can write another statement, but we want to again start with the beginning. Okay, if this statement is true, execute, else again colon, again enter, two white space it is considered, print a is not, or you can say a is less than b. Now if you execute, you can see this condition is returning false, it is coming to else block, then that statement it is executing. So this is called indentation, which we should follow. In other languages, what we will do, we'll go with curly brackets defining a scope. So this is a true statement here, starting and ending, same thing, false statement starting and ending. So this is called, in other languages we'll go with curly brackets. Other languages we'll go with curly brackets. If you are giving spaces also, it will consider. If you are giving spaces also, it will consider. In Python, we won't use curly brackets. We will follow indentation. If you're not giving curly brackets, what will happen? It will treat as invalid syntax. That is expected an indented block. So that's why we need to follow two white spaces. So there is an option, if you want to change that, there is an option called set Python indentation. Default is two white spaces. If you want to change four white spaces, you can change. Python follow here, the notebooks follow default two white spaces. Python indentation. So this is about, just before starting our programming language, we should have some basic idea about Python. That's why whenever you are copy paste from web, if you're not following this indentation, it will throw errors. Okay, so you will face many issues while doing a copy paste from webs. Why? Because that we need to follow that. Then, so when it comes to if statement, so if statement mainly we will use for conditions for validation purposes. If this condition is true, then do this, like maybe equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to. For all logical operators also we can use, and conditional logical conditions, logical operators, or mathematical calculations purpose also we can use. So let's look at the examples the same way. So just I'm a equal to -2. Okay, just if condition a less than 0, a less than 0, if condition is true, then print this. If a greater than 0, print something else. Okay, so a greater than 0. So a greater than 0 means if a is greater than 0, then print some value. A is less than 0. So a is less than 0. So a is less than 0 means, if this condition will verify, a is less than 0. A is less than 0 -2. So -2 is less than 0. So less than 0 means it's a positive number, and another statement, just I gave another statement and third statement. So those are executed. And when you look at this print statement, it is outside. So outside this if means by default this will be executed. Okay, this statement we should not consider because it is outside if. If it is if executing or not executing also, this statement will be executed because we are following some space. Okay, then what we'll do, if a is greater than 0. If a is greater than 0 means false. Actually, a is not greater than 0. A is -2. Then it will come to else. So else means this is executed, but this will be executed by default. Then I will give some positive number. A is greater than 0. Now A is greater than 0. Now it is true. This statement is executed. So like this, any condition less than, equal to, greater than, A is 0. Okay. If A is 0, so for equal to, we will use double equal to. For comparison, equal to mean single equal to is assignment operator, double equal to is conditional operator. So A is equal to 0, correct. If I give A 1, if A is not equal to 0, not equal to 0 means it will come to here. Or not equal to 0. So not equal to 0 means anyway A is not equal to 0, this will be executed. Less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, less than, greater than, equal to, not equal to, we can use all for condition. So always it will verify, it will return true or false. True means this statement, false means else statement. What will happen if you have more than one conditions? So this is single condition. If condition is true, this will be executed. Condition is false, this will be executed. What will happen if we have a more than one condition? Okay, that is called chain condition. So chain conditions we can go with if then else logic. So else if logic. So else if means more than one condition. Else if primarily we will go with more than one condition. So more than one condition means then we'll go with else if. So x is equal to 10, y is equal to 66. If x less than equal to y, then print this. Elif is nothing but another condition. X is greater than y, then execute this statement. If both are not satisfied, finally else. See here. So first it will verify this condition. If it is satisfied, that will be executed. Okay, then x equal to less than equal to y, or and then 12. So if I use a 10, so x less than equal to y. So x less than is equal to y, first condition is satisfied. So x less than equal to also we are using. The next condition x equal to y. So when you look at this, when the first statement is satisfied, then that will be executed. Then else if, when else if will come, if this is not satisfied. If that is not satisfied, then it will come to second statement. The second statement which is executing. X is equal to okay. So that is called else if primarily we can use for more than one condition. If one condition is not satisfied, then another condition. If that condition is not satisfied, then another condition. So that is called elif. Single condition, else, more than one condition to validate, that is called elif. Elif is nothing but else if. Then nested statement. I want to validate more than one statement, but when you look at this, only one statement it is validating. If it is false, then only it is going another statement. So when we will go for this type of else if, for example, you want to give some discounts to the particular customer, you want to sort out that 10 to 20% discount for particular age group, 30 to 50% discount for particular age group. Okay, so like this, multiple conditions. So again, inside that, again, if you want to write another condition, okay, for example, if first one is satisfied, then again I want to write another condition after this. So that is called nested if statement. So nested if statement means if first statement is true, then I want to write another statement inside that. That is called nested if. So nested if also we can go for that. Based on our requirement, we can write multiple conditions, which is else if or nested if. So nested if primary requirement is if this is satisfied, then verify another condition inside that. So that is called nested if. So I gave multiple examples here. This is else if. So else if primarily, if first one is satisfied, that will be executed. Else, second statement. Else, another else statement. So that is called multiple statements which you can go with this. Multiple conditions. Then multiple nested inside if another statement if you want to go, then we can go with that. That is nested if, which I gave another example here. Yeah, nested if. You can have if statement inside other if statement. This is called nested if. Inside if this is satisfied, then another if. If first one is not satisfied, then else will come. So inside else, another if statement. Inside if, another if statement. So x is equal to y. So x less than 10. So x less than 10. So that is below 10, satisfied. Again another condition, x greater than 20. No, it is not satisfied. Then it will come to else. So that else, but not above 10. Okay, just multiple conditions. Okay, then when it comes to data engineering side, PySpark. So here we need to look few important things, that is called shorthand if. How we will write a shorthand if in a single line. Shorthand if primary requirement is a single line if statement. So this will help you, and this we can use it frequently in PySpark. So single line. So single line statement if condition. If this condition is satisfied, that statement will be executed. This is called shorthand if. Then else also. If I want to use else, single line also, that is called shorthand if, we can write in single line. But when we are writing in single line, remember here, if condition, if true, the left side statement will be executed. If it is false, then else clause, then right side statement will be executed. There is a little bit difference here when it comes to shorthand if. Normal if, what will happen? If this is true, single statement, this will be executed. Okay, so if I go with 100, then that is true, this statement will be executed. Then when it comes to else, shorthand if else, if this is true, left side statement will be executed. Let's verify. A greater than B. So A greater than B true, this statement is executed. Then if it is false, I will give 300. Now A is not greater than B, then it will come to else. So else means the right side statement will be executed. And when you observe here, we are not using a colon. So when it comes to multiple lines, we'll be using colon. But when you are going with the shorthand if, you should not use colon. Remember that. Okay. So normally when we are writing here, you see we are using a colon. Okay. If you're not using colon, what will happen? It will throw exception. Invalid syntax. But when it comes to shorthand if, else if, shorthand else if, shorthand if, and shorthand if, else if also is there, multiple conditions. So here we should not use colon. And when it is true, the left side statement, when it is false, else, then right side statement will be executed. Then in shorthand if itself, more than one condition. Okay, this is more than one condition. So more than one condition means if this statement is true, it will be executed this right side. Okay, sorry, left side. If it is false, it will come to else. Then else, again another condition is there. So this will be executed. If this is true, then this will be executed because it's a left side. If this is false, then another else, that else right side statement will be executed. Let's verify now. So A and B both are safe. So first condition false, then it will come to else. Else means again this, it will come to this statement. So this statement is true. So this statement is executed. So this condition is true. So this statement is executed. Then if I give 500, A is greater than B. So A is greater than B. It's not A is greater than B. So A is less than B actually. So A is less than B. So we need to change this. Okay. So A is less than B. So just I change the text. Okay. So A is less than B. The first one is A is greater than B, false. It will come to else. Then this statement, actually A is equal to B. A is not equal to B because A is less than B. So when A is less than B, this condition also false. It will come to else. This statement is executed. Let's go with 600. Now A is greater than B. So first statement itself condition is true. Then left side statement is executed. So this is called single line with multiple conditions which we can achieve this. So this will help you when we are using in PySpark. So this is about if statement. So if statement indentation is a basic thing when we are writing in programming language in Python. For conditions validations purpose, we will go with the if. When you are writing more than one line of code in Python, we need to follow indentation. We need to follow indentation. Then next, loops. So when it comes to loop, every language will have a loops. Every ETL tool also will have a loop to process more than one record, or you can say to read more than one value or more than one item or more than one record. The similar way Python also is having two types of loops: for loop, while loop. For loop, while loop. So for loop and while loop. For loop depends on data, while loop depends on condition. First we'll understand for loop. So for loop syntax is for is a reserved keyword, then variable, then in is operator, then your value, that is nested value. So whenever you are reading more than one value, so that is your collection. So what we will do here, we will use the range. We'll use range. So the range I will write v underscore range 10. So it will generate 0 to 9 sequence of values. So 0 to 9 sequence of values. If I want to print, it is an iterable object. So when you print that, you cannot see the values, only that object directly it is printing that. So for that we have to use the collections, list or for loop to read values. So for loop means the syntax for is a reserved keyword, then variable. So variable, any variable name. In is an operator. In we will use for more than one values. In is an operator where it can read or it can say it can refer more than one value. So that more than one value is range. Colon ends with colon. Next, indentation, two white spaces. Now print a. So this for loop will read each item from this range and it will print. So looping means this item means this collection is having more than one value. First it will take 0, it will assign to variable, then it will execute this statement, that is print statement. Again go back, next second value, assign to this variable, print that variable, third value like this. So this is called for loop. So for loop is very simple, reading multiple values. Reading multiple values. If I have a name equal to, it's a string. If I use a string here, okay, so string also has sequence. Sequence means it can read one by one. See here. So string is also sequence, index 0, 1, 2, 3. So it will read one by one. But if you are going with a number, if you are going with number, then so number is not a sequence. It will throw exception. Int object is not iterable object. So for loop, it can refer only collection or you can say sequence type. So sequence type means which is iterable object. So iterable objects which we can refer. Iterable objects which we can refer. So that is about for loop. Simple example. Then so directly we can use a range here itself for loop. a in range of 5 colon print a. So range 5 means it will generate 0 to 4 numbers. That 4 we are reading one by one using for loop. So for loop always it depends on data. So that data after in operator, that object should be having more than one value, or you can say that object type is sequence type, or you can say collection, sequence type or collection. So this is about for loop. Give multiple examples, and then so for loop is having additional 2 statements inside for loop. Looping, so looping means reading one by one. If I want to stop the loop, then we can use these statements. Those are break and continue. Break and continue we can use to stop the loop, so or stop the iterations. Let's look at this. This list is having multiple values. When I'm reading one by value, I want to stop when it comes to particular value. So how we will verify particular value? Again, we'll go back to condition, that is called if statement. So first for loop, what this will do? Anyway, it is a collection. It will read one by one from left to right. First it will take apple and it will move to this variable. So that variable we are using a condition. If the value equal to this true. True means what I will do? I will use break. So break is a statement. Okay. What this will do? If that is matched, this will be executed. Look at the scope. The break is there inside if statement. Outside if I'm using print. Okay. So now if I run this, now verify this. So first it is taking apple, condition is verified. If condition is false, why? Because apple is not equal to cherry. So it is not same. Then it will come to execute that value. So that is called apple. Then another statement. So just I printed another statement. So again it will go to banana. So banana it will verify condition is false. This statement is executed. Then it will take cherry. Cherry condition is true. Then this will be executed. That is called a break. So break is a statement to stop the loop. So it will stop the entire loop. Once condition is satisfied, this will be executed. So break is a statement. It will stop the loop. So stopping a loop, we can use break statement. No. I don't want to stop the entire loop. I want to stop only few iterations. Okay. So whenever cherry is matched, then stop only that loop. Then continue with others. Continue with others means whenever cherry is coming, then stop that. That is called continue. Continue is another statement which it will verify. It will verify if condition is satisfied, then it will stop only that iteration. So that iteration, once cherry is satisfied that requirement, it will execute. Then it will stop that loop. Then it will go back. Then it will take orange. Then it will print that. That's why you see after banana, cherry is skipped. Then orange processed, orange mango. I will comment this line, only we will see the values. You will get better. First apple, then banana. So when it comes to cherry, condition is satisfied. So condition is satisfied means it will be executed. So executed means the next statement will be stopped because it will stop current iteration. It will stop current iteration. Then it will go back. It will take orange. Then it will verify condition is false, it will print. Mango, condition is false, it will print. Kiwi, then it will print. So this is called continue statement. So break is stopping entire iteration. So the break statement, we can stop the entire loop. With the continue statement, we can stop only that current iteration of the loop. Okay. So now if you look at this, I'm going to generate 0 to 59 values. and I don't want to print these values. So how we will make that condition? I don't want to print those values. How will make the condition? That is called continue. So if condition, if that value is in this, then use continue. So use continue means those won't be printed. Let's verify the output. So 3. So 3 is not printed. Next 11. So 10, after that 11 is not printed. So once the condition is satisfied, then this statement will be executed. That statement is nothing but skipping. So skipping means it will stop that iteration. It will go back again. It will take the another value. So we will take that 1, 3, 5, 7. Just example. See here. So whenever the condition is satisfied, 1, it is skipping. 3, it is not printing. So no, I want to use another way. I want to use another way. So I want to print only even numbers. So divided by 2, if remainder is 0, then it will skip even numbers, then it will print odd numbers. You see this. So we'll go with 10. So 1 to 10 even numbers it is skipping, then it is printing odd numbers. No, I want to skip odd numbers. Then if remainder is 1, that condition is satisfied, then it will skip odd numbers. So this way we can use these two statements. That is called continue and break statement. So continue, break with the help of if condition. Continue and break with the help of if condition. Next, while loop. So what is a while loop and when we will use this? So for loop depends on data. Always depends on data. If the data is available, it will go for loop. If data is not available, it will stop the iteration. Then, so for conditions, inside that we are using condition. Inside that we are using condition. No, I want to start a loop based on condition. That is called while loop. So with a while loop, we can execute a set of statements as long as the condition is true. So if the condition is true, then the looping will be executed. Otherwise, it will stop the iteration. So that is called while loop. So while loop will be executed based on condition. So while condition, then your statements. Look at this example. I'm going to declare one variable called I equal to 0 while I less than 10 means condition. If condition is true, colon, I'm going to execute this statement. Then I'm going to increment the value, I value. How we will use increment? So plus operator. So plus operator, which is I plus equal to 1. So every time it will do the increment 1. Okay. So first 0 less than 10 satisfied, it will print 0. Then I become 1 less than 10 true, it will print 1. Then 1 plus 1, it will 2 true, like this till 9. So once it is 10 means condition won't be satisfied, it will stop the loop. So that is called based on condition we can execute a loop, that is called while loop. If I'm not doing increment, what will happen? If I'm not doing increment, every time it will take one condition true, take one condition true, take one condition true, so not 0 only. So take 0 condition true. We're not doing increment, so it is going infinite loop. It is going infinite loop. So whenever you are using while loop, be careful. Why? Because if based on this condition it is stopping, right? So if condition is not satisfied, then only it will exit, because always if condition is satisfied, then it will be executing continuously. So if you want to stop, at least the condition should return false. So when condition will return false, if the value is getting changed. That's why if you are using increment, so every time it will do the increment. Then 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. This is called for loop. Inside for loop, inside while loop also we can use break and continue. So here anyway, this is the main condition. Inside that you can write another condition. Based on that, if you want to stop, you can stop that iteration. That is called break statement. So 1 to, so 0 to less than 10. If condition is satisfied, then execute. Condition is satisfied, then execute. If I equal to 5, once reaching 5, then use stop this iteration. Let's look at this. Okay. Once if it is reached to 5, then stop the loop. That is called break statement. You see, only 1 to 4 it is printed. Then once it comes to 5 equal to 5, condition satisfied, then break is executed. Then if I use continue means, again, you see this. Only 5 it will skip, then 6, then 7, it will go like this. If I use increment below, what will happen? First until 4 it will work. Then after 5, condition is satisfied, then continue. Go back, 5, go back, 5, go back, infinite loop. So till 4 it will print, then 5. Then you see this. After 5, once it is reached 5, then you see again continue will be executed. Again continue, because increment is there. So when increment will come, if this is not satisfied. So that's why while loop is very dangerous. Be careful while using condition based, because it may go infinite loop. So this is for loop and while loop with the break and continue statements. We can stop this. Break and continue statement. And if you want to stop this loop based on particular condition, what you can do? So if it is reaching 10 loops, if you want to forcefully stop, so there is a system exit is available. What you can do? You can create another variable, take the count of iteration, then forcefully exit that. So that option also is possible. So multiple examples have given. Again, while loop also we can use else statement. So else statement is based on this condition. If not satisfied, then this will be executed. So while loop, after reaching a 5, then condition is false, it will come to else, then this will be executed. That is called else. On while loop also we can use else. And again, so list as of now we are not covered, but list we will cover this separate. Inside list, how we will use for loop, how we will use if condition, that is called list comprehensions. So that we will see later. Here I gave multiple examples how to take sum of values from 0 to 1000. So using for loop, then declare one variable, empty variable, then add that sum. So this for loop will be reading one by one. Finally, we are using adding that value. So this in this variable. So this is one approach. So another approach is, if you want to do only even numbers or odd numbers, again we will use condition. If condition is true, then execute this statement. So this is a different approach, which is we are declaring Python list. In that list we are appending the values. This is one approach. Or create one variable, add that value. Both approaches. So in the list, Python list we can append, Python list we can apply some function. So both are same. But both are row by row operations. So this is one variable declaration or a list declaration. So when you declare list, use append method to add a value. So when you use a variable, if you're not incrementing like existing value, we are appending that. So if you're not using, what will happen? It will overwrite. So if you want to append the same variable, existing value plus new value. So it will be appended in this variable. This is the approaches. And yeah, these all are about for loop, while loop, continue statement, break statement, and if statement. Okay, and next we'll see functions and collections. So these are also very important when it comes to data engineering. We will see those in another video. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you very much.